Hello, this is McD the Beast, and this is McD Sports 4 coming to you today with my reaction to the Tennessee Titans schedule. Before I continue, two quick things. Don't forget to hit that like button and please subscribe to the channel. That's very important that you do that. I think this channel is growing rapidly. I want that to continue, so please do that. And point number two, I am a Tennessee Titans fan. So this is a fan reaction video. And I think our schedule is kind of tough. I'm just going to say it straight out front. I think our schedule is kind of tough. But I'm going to talk about it. Just go game by game, saying what we need to do in that game and where do I see us with this schedule. I read a few articles. I read a few articles. The articles have us, these NFL beat writers or whatever. They have us at 8-8, basically. I think we do better than 8-8. I mean, Tennessee Titans, we should be like 10-6 in my opinion with this schedule. And I'm going to go by game now. Starting off with Week 1 against the Browns on the road. Listen, a lot of hype around the Cleveland Browns. They got Odell Beckham Jr. They have Jarvis Landry on the other side. Baker Mayfield, he's pretty good. The offense is good. The defense is good. Can they do it for a whole season? We're going to see starting Week 1. If the Browns look flat, we're going to win this game. If the Browns play lights out, we're going to lose this game. That's what it's going to come down to. It's going to come down to how the game is going to come down to not how the Titans perform, but how do the Browns perform. So to me, that's a 50-50 game on the road against the Browns. And these aren't my official predictions, by the way. My NFL predictions will not come out until probably late August, maybe even into September a little bit, like September 1st or September 2nd. So that's when they'll come out. But anyways, Week 2, we get the Colts at home. If we want to make the playoffs, we got to win this game. The Colts, a bunch of Colts fans are probably depressed right now because they're in the end, the Pacers just choked away a game in the playoffs in Game 2. More on that later down the road. But the Colts, listen, we got to win this game against the Colts. We let them come into our stadium last year and beat us on Sunday Night Football in Week 17. I'm looking for revenge. I think this is probably a 55-45 game in the Titans' favor. In the Titans' favor. Colts are a great team. No disrespect to the Colts, but if you hold me to it today, I'll ride with the Titans. I'll ride with my Titans. Week 3, we get a Thursday Night Football game in Week 3, our only primetime game, which I don't understand why we only get one primetime game. We don't even get to go to London or Mexico City, which I don't want us going there anyways, but we don't even get a Sunday night or Monday night game. Last year, we got like 2 Monday night games. We had a Sunday night game, and we had a Thursday night game. We had like 4 primetime games, but this year we only have one. I don't know why. Somehow the shit-tards the team we're facing in Week 3 gets 2 primetime games. The Browns get more primetime games. I don't get it. But anyway, that's like a big complaint I have about the schedule. But we get the shit-tards in Week 3 on the road. That's an automatic W. The shit-tards are terrible. I know they replaced their quarterback, Blake Bortles, that terrible quarterback they had down there with Nick Foles, a lightning rod quarterback, I like calling him. He'll show up one game and then he'll disappear the other game. It's great that he had a run with the Eagles to the Super Bowl. He got carried in that Super Bowl. And listen, shit-tards are going to lose this game at home. No home field advantage. I'm going to say this is an 80-20. I'm going to say 80-20 favored Tennessee Titans over the Jacksonville shit-tards in that game. Week 4, we're on the road against the Falcons. This is a 50-50 game as well. Falcons, I mean, they're kind of confusing trying to figure out. They changed over some of the coaching staff at the coordinator positions. Dan Quinn's on the hot seat, obviously, because no head coach is doing that unless he thinks he's on the hot seat. So basically, the Falcons, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I think it's probably 50-50 that we win that game. As I just said. We got to see how the Falcons play in the first 3 weeks. They're going to get a primetime game against the Eagles I think in week 2, I believe. So that will be a good. I'll be sure to watch that game to see if we're going to beat the Falcons or not. And by the way, I did a video earlier today, about 2 hours ago, going through all the primetime games. I watch all the primetime games. I'll admit it. And there's also going to be recaps during the NFL season on Titans games, a recap overall on all the Sunday games, and then the Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday night games get separate recaps. So that's how I'm scheduling it this year. There'll be more details as the NFL season comes. But in like August or probably not even until September, I'll come out with that video. But basically, that's how I'm projecting to do it. But that's not one of my worries right now. Week 5 against the Bills at home. The NFL, by the way, it's the 100th anniversary, so they're having like a game each week, like one of these like history games. Well, week 5, Bills versus Titans is the history game. Listen, I say we're probably a 65-35 favored in the Titans, favored to us in that opinion, in my opinion. The Bills, listen, I've said it a few times before, the Buffalo Bills to me are a dark horse to make the playoffs. I think they actually have a decent team up there, but I mean, the Titans are better than the Bills. I mean, I'm not homing or anything. It's just the generic opinion. So I'll probably ride with the Titans in that one. So that puts us. I mean, we could be 4-1 at this point, in my opinion, going into week 6 on the road against the Denver Broncos. I mean, the Broncos are not that good of a football team, but it is in Mile High, so that's why I'm only saying it's a 60-40 game in the Titans' favor. Big time home field advantage for the Broncos. The defense is still decent for the Broncos as well, so that concerns me a little bit. The only problem I have with the Broncos is their offense. Joe Flacco is playing, so we don't have to worry about the Broncos' offense, actually. Now, thinking about it, so it should be a win for the Titans. It's a 4:25 game on CBS. Week 7, we get the LA Chargers at home. This is probably a 55-45 game in favor of the Chargers. They beat us last year in London. It came down to a 2-point conversion that we failed on, and I was fine with that because I was like, listen, if we're going to go for the wins and fail on 2-point conversions, and that's why we're going to lose, failing on a 2-point conversion, going for the win, I can live with that, especially against a good team like the Chargers. The Chargers are going to be one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the AFC, so I can't wait to watch this game. I think the Titans, in my opinion, we got to play well against them at least if we want a shot. We can't go up there looking like a bunch of slobs against the LA Chargers. Week 8, we get a home game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is a 70-30 game in the Titans' favor, in my opinion. The Buccaneers, they have a good offense, in my opinion, but the defense is garbage. Bruce Arians, he's going to come in, work with Jameis Winston. So I do expect the Bucs to be at least a bit better, but I think the Titans are a better team than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So give me the Titans. By the way, that game against the Bucs, that's a game we have to win if we want to make the playoffs. That game, the Broncos game, the Bills game, the Shittards game, the Colts game at home, and we probably have to win the game against the Falcons as well. So at this point, I think we have to be. I personally think we gotta be 6-2 at this point. I think we could be 6-2 going into week 9 on the road against the Panthers. I think this is a 50-50 game. I'm not sold on the Panthers really that much. The defense, I mean, it's a decent defense, but I mean, it's not like talented defense per se. I do think their head coach Ron Rivera is on the hot seat this year, so that could play a role into it. It is in Carolina, but I'm going to say it's a 50-50 game. Cam Newton, last time we saw him, he was all banged up and everything. Hopefully he gets healthy. But overall, we'll see what we do against the Panthers. And then week 10 at home against the Chiefs. I would love to win this game. We've played well against the Chiefs the past few years. We went up to Arrowhead and beat them twice. Now they have Patrick Mahomes. That was when they had Alex Smith. And one of those times he beat him on the road was a 21-point comeback in the AFC wild card. By the way, just saying. But overall, this is probably a 65-35 game in favor of the Chiefs. I don't expect the Titans to win this one going into it. And I know I said a few times before, I don't accept losing until it happens. If a Titans fan wants to accept losing before it happens against the Chiefs, especially if we're only like a 500 team, I would let it slide. But I was probably the problem with the Chiefs is their defense. If their offense could if their offense could play well, we have a shot in the game. But I mean, I don't know what their defense is going to do against the Chiefs. I mean, their defense is one of the better defenses in the league, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. And then we go to bye week in week 11. Wish it was a week or two earlier, actually. But that's whatever. Because anyways, we're going to have 2 bye weeks, actually, because the next week we get the Shit-Tards at home. The Jacksonville Shit-Tards, our second go-around with them. That's an obvious win. 90-10 in favor of the Tennessee Titans right there. The Shit-Tards are terrible. I mean, I always spoke about them. I'm wasting more time speaking about them. Maybe Jalen Ramsey would talk some more shit and lose by 20 points, or maybe Leonard Fournette, maybe he'll drive with a suspended license to the game or something. I don't know. I don't care. We will sweep the Shit-Tards again for the 3rd season in a row. And then week 13, we're in the listen, this is probably going to be the toughest game of the year right here at Indy. Even more tougher than the Chiefs at home, because at least we get the Chiefs at home. I'm going to say the Colts are probably going. I'm going to say this game's in favor of the Colts, 75-25. We haven't won in Indy forever. It seems like. Even I think we won there a few years ago, maybe. I don't know, but. I mean, I hopefully the Colts defense. Hopefully the Colts aren't as good as they were last season. To be honest, I don't want them to be that good because we play them twice. I want to win games. I think this Titans team has the potential to win the Super Bowl. Matter of fact, that is the Tennessee Titans are my Super Bowl pick for 2019-2020 NFL season. Write that down. But Indianapolis Colts. I mean, this is our toughest game, week 13. The good news is that we're basically playing a practice game against the Shit-Tards the week before, so hopefully we'll be geared up to play the Colts, and hopefully get the win there. Week 14, we're at Oakland. This is a little bit of a tricky game, maybe a little bit of a trap game, because we get the Houston no playoff win Texans. After them, I'm going to say this game I'm going to say the game is in the Titans' favor, 55-45. But we do have to go across the coast into California, Oakland, California. This could be the last season, or it might actually be the last season that the Oakland Raiders play in the Oakland Coliseum, and they might want to show out in front of that home crowd. They have Antonio Brown as a wide receiver. The defense isn't that good, but like they do have a few playmakers. They went out and got Marquise Jr. David Carr ain't a terrible quarterback. And John Gruden, I know he's got a lot of flack last year, but he ain't a terrible head coach, people. But so maybe I definitely give the Raiders a shot against us, but I'm going to say the Titans probably win that game. And the Titans do have to win that game, in my opinion, if they want to make the playoffs as well. And then the next game, week 15, we get the no playoff win Texans. Listen, they play great in the regular season, and then we hope we get them in the playoffs. I mean, to be honest, I don't care if the Texans sweep us. As long as we get them in the playoffs, we're good, because they'll lose that game. The Texans, listen, I also wish we got them during prime time, because even though we got them during prime time last year and lost, so maybe not. But the Texans, great regular season team. They do have trouble playing us in Tennessee. I'm going to say this is probably a 55-45 game in favor of the Tennessee Titans. I do think the Texans are a bit better than us, per se, but I think we could handle them at home, and I'll probably favor the Titans in that one. Week 16, we get the New Orleans Saints at home. Team that got absolutely robbed in the NFC Championship game, in my opinion. They're going to be on a mission to win the Super Bowl this year, and this could be a Super Bowl preview. I mean, at this point, I only expect the Titans to really maybe have 4 losses, if that. So, this is a 50-50 game since it's at home. If it was in the Dome in New Orleans, I'll probably say it's a 65-35 game in favor of the Saints. But I wouldn't say it's a 50-50 game. We'll see what happens. Their defense is good enough, in my opinion, to stop that Saints offense. The question is, how well is our offense going to do against the Saints defense? That's going to be the big question in that one. Hopefully Marcus Mariota, Derrick Henry, they play well and ball out. Delanie Walker will be back as well. And then week 17, we get the no playoff win Texans again, this time in Houston. This game could be for the division. It could be rotated into Sunday Night Football on NBC. Hopefully, if that's the case, we'll get the win on week 17 on NBC on Sunday Night Football this time. Instead of, and even if Mariota is injured, God forbid, knock on wood, hopefully he's not injured. But we have Ryan Tannehill, who I have called Ryan Tannehill a backup quarterback, but he's the best backup quarterback in the league now, since he's actually has a title as backup quarterback, and he'll ball out against the Texans. The Texans, they're allergic to prosperity. They're an absolute disgrace during big games. So the Texans, I don't expect them to win this game if it's a big game. And this is a 50-50 game, in my opinion. But anyways, that's all I have. That's my reaction to the schedule. To me, worst case scenario with this schedule is 8-8. Best case scenario with this schedule is 13-3. That's where I'm at. I'm pretty sure we're making the playoffs with this schedule. It is kind of a tough schedule because, in my opinion, there's really only like 2 or 3 teams in the NFL that are really that bad. And I'm looking at you, the shit-tard fans. But I think overall we could do really well with this schedule. So that's my opinion. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to hit the like button and please subscribe to the channel. That will be greatly appreciated. I post videos about my favorite team, the Tennessee Titans, all the time. So stay tuned for those videos if you do subscribe. I don't think you'll regret subscribing on McD Sports 4. So thanks for watching the video. And this is McD the Beast signing off.